going on, everybody? Welcome into another 5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10. Thank you so much for starting your week with me. If it's anything like last week, buckle in and let's get after it because it's going to be a wild one. So let's talk about what we do know over the last week. We've got a couple of states that are closed, obviously 5 of them. Within those states, it seems rather questionable. We know service is an essential business. It sounds questionable if sales are in some states. It needs to be made more clear, and it needs to just be an essential business, because if something breaks and needs to be replaced, and someone needs a new car, it should be essential business. So those states are obviously really dealing with something completely different than those of us in states who are not. But there are lessons to be learned from those states in our industry about some of the good things going on, and then obviously some of the more questionable things. You know, some of the sales departments that are staying open, even though they've been legislated not to be, etc. So you want to just be very careful, understand where your state stands on things seems to be very important. Obviously, there have been a ton of lawyers involved this week. Those are the conversations I'm having with dealers and attorneys, etc. So let's also talk about the vendors. Over the last week, the vendors have come together in an unbelievable way. And I, for one, couldn't be happier sort of pushing those discussions forward any possible way that I can, everywhere I can. And as of today, Cox Automotive, I believe, has set the gold standard at 50% off April and May for every single thing that they sell. Remember, I'm the first one to take a vendor out to the woodshed, but I'm also the first one to talk about things that are great, and this is great. That includes their VIN Solutions CRM, it includes DealerTrack. It's every single, so vAuto, everything that they sell, guys, they're giving 50% off for April and May. That is a huge relief for dealers. So if you sell any product, any technology to a dealer, you at minimum own 50% off for the next 2 months. And if they're in affected states, everyone, including Cox Automotive, should be pausing any sort of billing, keeping all of these dealers live while they try to grapple with what goes on next. And look, I've had discussions with people in those states. I have clients in California right now, and those discussions are more about, Sean, there are leads coming in. There are people wanting to talk about it. We do have deposits on a few cars, but guys, you got to think about it. The volume is so contracted, right? It's so much smaller. So this idea that products are going to save our lives, digital retail is here to get us through this, you know, while that is true to some extent, it's certainly here to help us. Right now, there is no savior. This is not about that. This is about weathering the storm, getting through it the best way you can, doing whatever possibility you can to make money in these times for dealerships is imperative. So in California, the clients that I have seen a rise in ROs over the last couple of days. That's nice to hear. That means that, you know, at least that part of it is happening. Delivery, trying to off-site things is difficult in some states. People take it as an assumed, and it's not. There are difficulties that come into that. So again, be very cautious within your state about what's going on. So as we look forward and we talk about sort of what happens next, I would urge you to have a prepared plan for if and when your state closes. A week ago, last Monday on the show, we were talking about kiosks, right? And sort of it was a rough week, but let's see what happens. Now here we are 7 days later, and there are 5 states that are closed, and things have gotten quicker, have gotten real quicker than I think people thought, especially in our industry. I mean, we're really feeling it. So make sure, as someone who's lived through 9/11 in this industry, lived through 08, I stress to you one thing. Just stay together with your teams. Continue to work as a unit. Don't turn your backs on one another. This is when the going gets tough, as they say, and the tough get going. There's a lot out there right now on social media about, oh, you can still do everything. I'm not even paying attention to this. I would find somewhere in the middle between that and, oh my God, stay in your house, don't ever leave it, right? I think there's a happy medium there. So we're going to do the best we can on this show. Over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to break my own little rule that I've had, silly my own stuff. I like to do interviews in person, but with social distance being what it is, we are going to get into it. And we're not sure if we're going to do video yet. We might go old school, do audio, might be a mix of both. Who knows? But we're definitely going to be reaching out to folks, talking all the strategies we can to see what's going on to help everyone through this crazy, crazy time. So once again, thank you so much for joining me. And remember, be kind to one another. Have a great week.